You're listening to What You Gonna Do, the Hulk Hogan movie podcast, also known in France as the 24-inch podcast.
No. Do we know anybody that speaks French?
I do.
Uh-huh.
I have one friend that speaks French.
Who's that?
My friend Nelly.
Oh. Not Monsieur Le Rip.
No, I don't know him personally. I'd love to. I assume Rip is long dead.
That's a good question.
Rip lived a very tough lifestyle.
He was probably like late 30s and 89. So.
Well, he was Hulk's age, so yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Hulk looks great.
Hulk is hanging in there.
What did we say? Well, we said he looks like a basset hound, so maybe somebody actually accidentally put him down at some point.
Or they adopted him and he's sleeping on a back porch right now.
Well, there you go.
I just sent you a picture the other day of someone I know was at the Dallas Mavericks game, and Jimmy Mouth of the South Heart was sitting a few rows in front of him. And then on the broadcast, he was sitting with the Pelicans. He was on their bench, basically. And it turns out he was there giving away WrestleMania tickets because it's in Arlington this year.
Yeah, and I mean, you sent me the picture. He was in a suit, and I said, does he always wear the suit, or is he promoting something? He said, either way, it's sad.
That's true. And Mark Followill, the Mavs play-by-play guy, posted a picture of himself with Jimmy. And he said Jimmy's 78 years old.
And he's still plugging WrestleMania.
That's right.
I guess it'd be sadder to see him in just a casual get-up.
That would be way sadder.
Because it's like, oh, so he just does this. I don't know.
I think it would be immeasurably sadder if you saw him in just like a button-up flannel shirt and jeans with the pitch black dyed hair. Anyway, Jacob, we got to talk about something here. We didn't have an episode when we were supposed to last week because we've just had a lot going on and we just didn't get to it. We apologize to the listeners. But, interestingly, we recorded an episode.
Yes, we did.
To release.
Just now.
Got to the end and realized we had not recorded it. Or I had not recorded my end of it, is what happened. And we did not record a Zoom backup. So that episode is lost to the winds. My half of it is, at least. Jacob's half is out there. So maybe this is our big break. We release your half, and listeners can record their own half of the conversation to go along with it and like remix the podcast.
You know, we could do that. I got to say, I'm kind of happy about it because I really stumbled over some of my line reads. And
okay, yeah. Well, you were having a tough time with the script.
Yeah, so I think...
There was a lot of stage direction this week, though, so it's not really your fault.
There really was, and a lot of it was in Italian. And I'm just, you know, I learned Italian for the show, but I'm a little rusty, and I don't know. I would like a second crack at it. So.
Well, Jacob, do you know how you say rusty in Italian?
I really don't. That's the problem.
Let me tell you, it's rustissimo. All right, Jacob, so since we have been doing this for a couple hours without any fruits of our labor, we're going to keep this real short.
I think so, but...
Do we have any old business we want to cover?
Well, we can consider it old business to recover
exactly
some important topics.
I was thinking that one bit of old business is that we've already talked about everything that we could possibly talk about this episode. One thing we weren't planning to cover the movie this week anyway. This was going to be kind of a little interlude episode,
right?
So that we could get it up kind of quickly. And then, as you and I are kind of want to do, we talked for a lot longer than we intended to. So it was going to be more editing than we thought anyway. So we're going to keep this one short. In the meantime, Jacob, is there anything that we need to address as old business?
Give me that whole business. 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 Give me that whole business.
Well, you got your booster. We were talking about that.
We talked about that. I got boosted. And you know what happened after that?
Yeah. You
I grew mighty.
Mm-hmm. You grew mighty.
It's hard for me to say this, but for a fact, because I only heard what it sounded like inside my own ears. But I'm pretty sure somebody standing within about 10 feet of me could have heard the blood rushing through my veins.
Right.
It was flowing so intensely. You ever been whitewater rafting? I think it was similar to that kind of sound.
Yeah. Loud.
And what I did is I went in sort of a frenzy mode and ran through the store, knocking over customers and merchandise alike. Got up to the front of the store and made love to the cashiers.
Drank a whole bottle of canola oil, I think.
Male and female. I did that. You're right. I drank an entire bottle of canola oil. Then I went up to the front and made love to each and every cashier, both male and female. Lined them up on the conveyor belt, and as they came by, had my way with them.
Uh-huh. Well, consensually.
Oh, no, they were into it.
Yeah, sure.
Believe you me.
The best thing about that is if you're in the middle of it, you realize you don't have a condom, well, look around.
Condoms.
And they...
I'll tell you one thing I did not use.
Huh?
The express register. Took my time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we talked about happened this week when we recorded the Lost episode.
Right. And so, yeah, I asked you before, and I'll ask you again. So, you got your booster, but I guess, you had missed a couple episodes of Pat McAfee's show, or you hadn't been current on Pat McAfee's show?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, what'd you say? You would, you had a few saved up, but you hadn't listened to them, so. Too bad.
Well, there's always time to catch up.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, you want to hear about something too bad?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the wide receiver Robert Woods?
I've heard of him.
Tore his ACL in practice.
Fantastic. No, it's terrible news for Mr. Robert Woods.
Well, it's terrible news for my fantasy football team.
Well, worse news for Robert Woods.
Robert Woods hurt his knee at practice Friday. He went down, got up, finished practice, conducted interviews with the media after. Nobody thought anything wrong, and then tests discovered later that he tore his ACL. All right, Jacob, well, you got any old business besides what we just covered, or do you want to move on, get the folks out of here in a hurry?
Well, this is kind of old, but we did talk about it, but I don't mean to harp on this, but it was... How would you describe the idea of during this summer's contract holdout, Rodgers saying, well, maybe I'll just go host Jeopardy as a threat?
Yeah, he was apparently trying to genuinely use that as leverage against the Packers, which is pretty funny. I mean, just as an idea, it's funny.
Yeah.
But I also saw him host Jeopardy and thought it was real terrible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Apparently, a lot of people liked him as the host. I thought he was real bad, and he's creepy to me. Like, he comes off as a creep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
I can't decide if it's childish or sad or just dumb. I don't know. Just to hear somebody say that with just zero self-awareness, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what an example of it is. I've seen something in a movie where somebody's like banking on something and then they find out that the person they were going to go to didn't want them.
I feel like a lot of it, I mean, that's a pretty big theme in Eastbound and Down.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But I mean, that's throughout I don't know. But just to say it like they're waiting for you to decide. You were probably pretty shitty.
Yeah.
And of course, they were probably in negotiations with Dr. Oz at that point. So, who knows?
Well, it turns out, Mayim Bialik is like an anti-vaxxer too.
Yeah.
So apparently that was like a prereq for being considered as a host. I don't think Ken Jennings would be. I think he's a pro-vax guy. I think I read that somewhere.
Well, he's a man of science.
He's a man of trivia.
He is a man of trivia.
He's real good at it.
Probably a fan of Sesame Street, if you know what I mean.
I don't, but I am okay with that.
Oh, you don't know about that? The whole Big Bird thing.
Street. Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Big Bird, good role model for the kids.
Well, some would say.
By the way, Jacob, Ken Jennings has encouraged all fans to get their vaccines.
Well,
he did tweet at one point, I'll probably get whichever vaccine has the funnier Super Bowl commercial.
Okay.
Pretty good joke. He's actually a pretty funny guy for a Jeopardy host. Anyway. All right, Jacob. Well, Big Bird's terrible in your world. We got it. We understand.
Well, You're
not a fan of birds.
Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers hosted Jeopardy, so he knows, like, he had to study up and know all the answers that were coming his way.
That is true. He is very educated.
Versus a goddamn bird. Birds' brains are smaller than humans' brains. So let's just think about that.
That's true.
Let's just think about it. No.
Especially a man like Aaron Rodgers.
As I understand it, he did hours of research.
To host Jeopardy?
Oh, no.
The vaccine.
Yeah. Including, he listened to hours of the Joe Rogan podcast, I've heard.
See, I saw a tweet about that said that Roger said he had talked to his friend Joe Rogan about this, and I just assumed it was a joke.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that's a kind of funny joke someone just made, and it turned out it's not a joke. He did actually say that he was basing a lot of that on stuff he learned from Joe Rogan.
So I'm trying to decide, this thought just popped up. So obviously there are different levels of success or celebrity or whatever, but they're both comedians. Who do you think is funnier, Bill Maher or Joe Rogan?
Probably Joe Rogan.
Really? I don't know.
I think some people have said Joe Rogan is actually a decent stand-up. I don't know. I've never seen it.
I could see him like having a good stage presence. There's like he could deal with. I've seen stuff about him dealing with a heckler, which is probably just every comedian at some point slams a heckler and gets filmed. But
yeah, probably so.
I don't know. Like one of his specials was called "Flying Monkeys in Space" or something like that.
Great title.
Yeah. So it just seems. I don't know. I mean, not that I would put Bill Maher out either. I don't know. It's hard. It's just funny that they both got their start in comedy. It's like, well, okay. Sure. Anyway.
All right, Jacob. Well, listen, this week I don't think, other than that, we don't have any old business, so I think we ought to move on and get the people out of here.
Give me that whole business. 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 Give me that whole business.
When I say the people, I mean you.
Get me out.
You are the people.
You want me
when
out?
I say we the people, I mean you the people.
For the people.
By the people.
By the people. And for the people.
With the people.
With. Around the people.
Around the Horn with Tony Reale.
Is he still around? The Horn?
I don't know.
Sorry.
I think he's still around the Horn.
Well, he's got big shoes to fill. The great Max Kellerman.
Max Kellerman.
Yeah. It is
he
funny.
He wasn't around the Horn. He was
Yeah, he was.
Okay, sorry. What is Tony Reale's show then?
It became around. He replaced Max Kellerman.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm sorry. I was thinking. So Max Kellerman was there like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it is funny that a person like that, like, you move on and then you just basically do the same thing. Next 20. That's just your skill. My skill is pointless debate shows on a dumb person network.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is.
Okay.
He's good at it.
Is he?
Apparently.
I mean, he appeals to whatever people want to watch it.
I mean, he's made a lot of money and done it for a long time,
Sure.
so he must be okay at it. But
yeah,
I guess you're right. You don't have to be good at it to have one of those jobs.
All right.
Anyway. All right, Jacob. Well, why don't we move on to recommendations then?
I insist on it.
All right. Well, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Why don't you kick us off this week?
All right. I'm going to try to recreate exactly what I recommended earlier.
I love it.
So I'm not going to try to say the same words, but I'm going to make the same recommendations. I started off by recommending a TV show that you can find streaming on Hulu. It's an FX show called Reservation Dogs.
Now, I know all about this one. So
you do, but for the listener who may not know, what I told you earlier is that if I was going to compare it to something, probably like Atlanta was the closest thing, because it's sort of it's like a tonal thing that it's about. You would call it a comedy, but it's not like joke heavy or anything. It's more like just situationally
more
funny,
reserved.
Like a situational comedy. Now, that's actually kind of interesting, because I said that as a joke, but what is called a sitcom is now just nothing but constant bad jokes.
Right.
When you say a sitcom, you're thinking of, like a 2-camera or a multi-camera thing, but This is a single camera thing that, like, the jokes come more from just the tone of the show than from the actual dialogue. But anyway, it's like a Native American version of Atlanta, I would say, but not like in a way where it's being derivative of that. The cast and crew are almost entirely Native American, and it's set on a reservation in Oklahoma. And yeah, it's real good. It's very, very good. I loved it. There's only 8 episodes, 30 minutes each. Also
did you
recommended
read the Sherman Alexie book?
I did.
Okay.
Part-Time Indian. I can't remember the name
The
of it.
Absolutely True Story of a Part-Time Indian.
I did read that, and I saw a story last night about how some school districts are banning books or whatever, and that was on the list.
Okay.
Of one that's being banned for some, or people were trying to ban or something. But yeah, I've got that book, and then I've got another book or two of that guy's Sherman Alexie that I bought at the book fair for $1 each, knowing I would never read.
Well,
anyway,
I've been going through my books, and I found a book of either short stories or poetry of his that I might keep, just because you can spend 5 minutes reading something like that as opposed to committing to a novel. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I did.
Well,
that was a very good book. I thought
it was good. You recommended it to me, and so when I finally found it at the book fair, I got it and I enjoyed it. Actually, I guess it is kind of reminiscent of Reservation Dogs, because it's about Native American people on a Indian reservation and stuff, but it's not like a Native American book.
Right.
It's just about like the, life of people in that group. But anyway, there's actually a lot of stuff in Reservation Dogs that I feel like growing up where we grew up, we can relate to a little bit.
Yeah.
Like just crazy old people and stuff. Anyway, Okay. Jacob, moving on, I also recommended a horror movie double feature for Halloween that we watched on Halloween. It's a little late, but you can save it for next year. American Werewolf in London, which is one of my favorite movies, and Videodrome, which I had never seen before, but I think you would enjoy. It's a David Cronenberg film.
And you worked very hard not to spoil American Werewolf in London.
Other than reading the title to you, I tried not to. Yep.
I have no idea what it's about.
You're going in blind.
Or where it happens or anything like that.
Well, that's the best way to watch a movie, going in blind.
The nationality of the characters, I have no idea.
Well, maybe you don't know all of them. Hot shot. One more thing I recommended, a thing that I said shouldn't work but does, the latest series of American Crime Story. This one's called Impeachment, an American Crime Story, which is the Ryan Murphy anthology series, which is also on Hulu because it was an FX show. That the first season covered the OJ trial, the second season covered the Andrew Cunanan murder spree that ended when he killed Versace, and then now this one is the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal. Shouldn't work, but does. And that's what I got for recommendations. Now it's your turn.
Do you feel compelled to watch that Trump Showtime series?
God, no.
I mean, he got impeached twice, so it's got to be twice as good.
And I saw like a trailer for it. And
okay, so there.
Well, no, I saw a trailer for it, and it looked absolutely insane.
I just assumed, I really thought it was a Funny or Die or something.
Okay, no, it's real. It's real, and there is something, I can't do this to myself, but there is something somewhat appealing in a way, like to learn. Like there was a book Bob Woodward wrote that's supposed to be pretty good about, the Trump presidency. And it's like, part of me is kind of curious to know like how self-aware the guy actually is.
Right.
Because I was at a bookstore and picked it up and flipped through it, and I saw like a couple of things where, it was talking about conversations he had with people, and it was like, is he actually self-aware at all of how this looks and what he's doing, or is he truly like as stupid as he seems? And I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that's somewhat interested in that, and a bigger part of me that doesn't want to ever think about him again. So I know I'll have to, but I'm going to put it off as long as possible.
Yeah. And I have no interest in a Bob Woodward production either. It's just.
Is there a problem with Bob Woodward? I really don't know.
He's just a self-promoting piece of shit, kind of.
Okay.
And, he held a lot of stuff back. That's one problem people have with him. He held, like, he could have, the whole thing about it being a respiratory exclusive illness,
Yeah.
He could have, he had access to put out there. I don't know. He's just a guy selling books. So, of course, he's doing that kind of stuff. But,
well, so he's a guy who at one point may have actually like done something important, right?
Right.
And now because of that, he's considered like respected or something, but he's really just a.
Yeah. But at some level, he's just the person somebody fed information to, right?
Yeah.
He maybe had enough integrity to, think you could protect sources or whatever like that. But I don't know. At some level, I don't know.
Well, to be clear, I wasn't saying I plan to read the book.
Oh, I know. I had a reason not to also, that's all. Where were we? Oh, that was one thing. We talked about American Horror Story for a while.
We did talk about that, yeah, because you said
Murphy
you had
thing.
seen every episode of it.
Yeah, and it's not good, but I've seen it. I don't know. But it's probably similar in a way.
It is a Ryan Murphy anthology show.
Right. So a lot of Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, she is a big part of it.
Of both. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think she's been in every season of American Horror Story.
I think so, yeah. I think that was like a big part of it.
Yeah. Which is interesting. It's an interesting idea to have just the same actors doing different stories all the time. Like it is like a ghost story idea or something, but I don't know.
It's like a theater troupe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So I don't know. I know it's not good or interesting. I used to just have it on for editing or if I was doing something else, but it's one of those things that has 3 or 4 good ideas over 10 to 13 episodes, and you just kind of 3 years later you can think of those and not the rest of it.
Yeah.
Something like that. But anyway. What did I recommend? I can't remember. Oh, well, we didn't get into this. We spent, I'm wondering if you were talking about a TV show, about the funniest TV show there ever was or will be is The American Office.
Yeah, just about the funniest show we've ever seen. We had let's just say this. We had a very, very long and very stupid bit in this lost episode.
Yeah.
Where we just kept talking about The Office and saying it's the funniest show there's ever been.
And how, what were we even doing?
I don't know. I don't know how it came up. I don't know what, but we talked about it for a really long time.
Yeah, probably at least 15 minutes. Total.
And it was one of those things too where, no one would even really, a lot of people probably wouldn't even understand that it was a joke.
Right. Yeah, because we weren't making fun of it. We were just like saying
we were just pretending it was the funniest thing ever made. Which, it's a thing that I think I like more than you do, but it's not something I have any desire to rewatch or anything. But people think it's the only funny thing there is.
People love it. People rewatch it.
There was a pretty great Onion headline at one point that was like, the Office actors unite to, it was something about like a public service announcement, but they united to, film a public service announcement begging fans to watch anything else.
Yeah. Oh, did Did we start talking about it because we were talking about Amy Adams?
Amy Adams came up for some reason, but I think we had already mentioned The Office.
You were telling me something about Great on a Curve. I said I always had trouble with the curve, and then I started talking about how Jenna Fisher and Amy Adams.
Oh, that's right.
I still think Jenna Fisher's in that movie sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though I know she isn't.
I've never seen it.
I haven't either. For the record, maybe we should cover it next.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Put it on the list. Put it on the list.
Why should we cover that? I don't know.
I don't know, but we should.
Why? Well, maybe we'll cover it to start.
I think it's just something that's come up on this show a lot of times for some reason. I think you've mentioned it probably 50 times over the years.
No, I don't think so. I think it's come up a lot on Comedy Bang Bang.
Oh, okay.
With the
Scott
the Calvin twins.
Scott has mentioned it a lot, yeah.
Oh, didn't the Calvin twins have a big long thing about it?
Maybe.
About how they originally wrote it, but about horse fighting or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You're right. They did.
Speaking of that, the Calvin twins' first appearance on the show, on the TV show, was with Jenna Fisher.
Interesting. You sure it wasn't Amy Adams?
It might have been Amy Adams, but I'm pretty sure it was Jenna Fisher, and she had one of the good breaks, you know.
Yeah.
Listening to them talk about it. The best one was
they are funny.
Zach Galifianakis had a really good one. Andy Daly.
By the way, Taron Killam
Uh-huh.
was in American Crime Story Impeachment.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
In a small role.
Henry Kissinger?
He was Paula Jones's husband.
Okay, sure. I'll tell you one thing about the newest season of American Horror Story. Okay, what? Tom Schafer? No, who's the dude in? Who's the guy from the program? The star of that? James something Schafer, I think.
I don't know. James Caan? Is that who you're thinking of?
No, sir.
Craig Schaefer.
Craig Schaefer. Do you know who he is?
No.
I don't know why I assume you do, but maybe not. I mean, I've seen him probably in a lot of things you haven't. You've probably only seen him in the program.
I'm sure I've seen him in something, but I don't know him by name.
Okay.
But yes, it says he was an American Horror Story double feature.
So I think we talked about, do you see what his role was?
I do. Richard Nixon.
Well, it wasn't good. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah?
It was really bad.
Not as good as Philip Baker Hall's role as Richard Nixon in the Robert Altman film something. I can't think of the name of it.
I don't know.
He played him. It was like a adaptation of like a one-man show where he played Nixon. It's called Secret Honor.
Oh, okay.
And I think he's supposed to be absolutely incredible in it. It's based on a play, which is like a one-person thing.
Oh, okay.
Like it's just Richard Nixon ranting in a room, but Philip Baker Hall plays him. He's the only person on screen, I think.
Okay.
You like Philip Baker Hall. He's good.
Which one is he?
Probably first saw him as Bookman in Seinfeld. But then he was in Magnolia as Jimmy Gator.
Oh, yes.
That guy, the craggy man from that. He's great.
He's good. Seems like he was in something. So anyway. Well, anyway, why are we talking about Richard Schaefer? Oh, just that, yeah, he plays Nixon horribly.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
So, recommended The Office. We'll dispense with our 30-minute bit. We'll try to bring it back sometime.
Okay.
What did I recommend?
I will say that it was probably the funniest bit of all time.
It was, I like those bits. I like where you're not quite sure if it's funny, if it's a joke, and if it is, it's not the funniest thing ever. Just committed to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I recommended give Lovecraft Country a try, even though I don't like it that much, and you didn't like it enough to keep going. But I think
okay, yeah, you did mention that. Yeah.
The actors are pretty good. It's a good concept and idea. I just don't find the execution of the twist of it all that good.
Yeah.
Right? Which, I mean, it's not much of a spoiler. You can tell from the title it's going to be some horror elements. I just haven't liked those very much. They've seemed like an episode of Grimm or something, basically.
Like Grimm with better production value and a better cast.
Yeah. But I do think the acting is very good. So whatever. Give it a try if you haven't. Okay. Although it's 2 years old now, so
yeah, something like that.
Who am I telling anything? I don't know. And then we talked about Dune because I did watch it.
Yeah,
but we don't have to go into that. It was, well, I don't know. It's interesting. It is pretty good. I think we had a similar take on it. And I did like Jason Momoa more than I thought I would. He was pretty good and kind of reserved. And
yeah, I know you were very, very against the idea of Jason Momoa in it.
Yeah. I think my main problem with it was probably Jessica wasn't portrayed all that well. She seemed kind of helpless more than I think she does in the book.
And well, I don't know. She was sometimes real badass at one point.
At one point, yeah, but I don't know. And then it seemed like Oscar Isaac didn't get enough screen time to really establish his character. So I guess that was the main thing. Like, it looked really good. You compared it to Blade Runner 2049, which is pretty apt. Like, it looks pretty good and isn't as deep as... Like, that one's not as nearly as deep as the original, and this one is not nearly as deep as the source material.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was saying, that I haven't read the book in so long that I don't remember. I only remember highlights, so I don't know what like depth was left out as much.
Yeah, and I don't even mean that like they left out stuff, but more like it just didn't feel like they. And you're doing a 2.5 hour movie where you're only covering like a third of the book.
Yeah.
So it's like, why does it still feel so thin? Character wise, I don't know. It felt like a lot of quick hits.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks really good, and basically it looks good, and they didn't fall on their face adapting a difficult book. So
yeah, well, that's high praise from you.
Well, not that anybody needs it.
I did see a tweet that I liked that someone said, so it's set on a desert planet where everyone mines drugs out of the ground. And then the response, it was like a dialogue. Someone said that, and it's like, okay, sounds cool. And it said, they worship giant sandworms. Yep, got it. And then it said, the toughest guy is named Duncan, Idaho. And it was like, now wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
Because it's a silly name.
It is a silly name.
But yeah, okay. You hated it. I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Is that everything we recommended?
I mean, we really spent a lot more time recommending The Office. You want to get more into... Who are your favorite characters in The Office, would you say?
Oh, when it comes to me, I think it's a 50-way tie.
Yeah. I mean, Robert California, somewhere near the top.
He's up there. And then what was Will Ferrell's character's
I don't know.
name? It's like, it was Tyrone something, or it was something weird like that.
Yeah. Kathy Bates was good in it, I thought. But anyway.
She had Great Danes, right?
Yeah.
I have to figure out what his character was in The Office. That's going to really bother me. Yeah, that was a very odd thing when they were doing that, like bringing in different people. D'Angelo Vickers.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, they mentioned at one point that he lost 176 pounds. No, he lost 203 pounds, but it says it conflicts with the NBC biography, which says he lost 176. So I guess there's just character profiles on the website or something. Anyway, Jacob, our wonderful bit about The Office was lost to the ages.
Well, maybe we'll just post my half of it. People can.
Yeah, you could do that if you want as a bonus thing for our new Patreon page. You can just listen to Jacob's half of the episodes and record your own response and upload it to the internet.
You should do that, yeah.
Great idea. All right, well, Jacob, I think it's time we get out of here. I've wasted enough of your time. I've wasted enough of everyone's time. Most of all, I've wasted enough of my own time. And I'm done with it. From now on, I'm going to make the best use of time possible. I'm not going to waste another minute. Not going to waste another second.